Thank you for joining me on the Endless Mountain Network. My name is Derek and today is the 31st of March 2009. Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about the General Motors situation, about consumer confidence. That number came out today, along with the G20 meetings, and then we'll finish it off with a stock market update. So that will be on the agenda for this episode. So we'll start off with General Motors. President Barack Obama was saying that they are prepared to allow GM and Chrysler for a structured bankruptcy if they fail to remake themselves, meaning they got to find a way to make money, reduce costs, basically get a cash flow going. And of course, I've been talking about the situation of how money is nothing more than debt. And what happened before is they would have higher interest rates, which would create more debt, and then they lowered the interest rates, which created a higher money supply. So that is how they have done their system. Increasing the rates, increase the debt really high. And now, of course, why I'm saying this is because these problems have to occur because of the definition of the monetary system and how we do stuff like this. Now, if you're not familiar with the monetary system, maybe you're watching my video from one of the first few times, please check out Zeitgeist Addendum and Zeitgeist Movement, and that will explain to you why the money is nothing but debt and why these things have to collapse. And I'm saying they have to collapse as in General Motors does have to collapse. Premier of Ontario, Canada, Dalton McGuinty, was saying that GM has to basically cut costs because they're not going to get any help from the government there. It was sounding like General Motors is very big in the province of Ontario, and they were saying that 400,000 jobs or severe pay cuts are at stake. And I don't know if they mean 400,000 for the entire General Motors in the world or North America, or if they mean other jobs that are surrounded with General Motors. For example, companies that of which would sell to them, if you will. So the government is forcing them to cut costs as large as they can. Remember, GM didn't even move with the times. It's not like they changed to electric vehicles, and that's the problem the system has. And this is like a world elite system that Zeitgeist Addendum was talking about, how we have the technology now to make cars that are battery powered that could go like 100 miles an hour and can go for hours without needing recharged, and yet we still don't have these cars being made like we should. They still continue to make these gas guzzlers, and from what the Zeitgeist series is talking about, it seems as if the people behind the scenes, if you will, the oil people, want to stop this from happening. And that's what Zeitgeist Movement was talking a lot about, is ways in which the government and corporations are working for the monetary system to work for them. That's pretty much how they were going on that. So I'm not surprised, but nonetheless, these companies are on the verge of most likely failing. And I mean, like I've been talking about, the unemployment rate now from Shadow Stats is 19%. Yes, you could say it's 8.1% as far as the numbers that we see from the government, but they are not including people whom are disgruntled or no longer looking for work. I don't think they count disabled people who aren't able to work, nor do I think they count someone who's working at McDonald's or Walmart for 20 hours a week, because they're making less than what some unemployment checks are making. So it's not going to get any better as far as that's concerned. What Zeitgeist Movement was talking about, moving to a resource-based economy would require this number to get a lot higher and higher, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. I'm not kidding when I say 90%, because our technology is growing so fast that we can pretty much get technology and robots to do all of these dirty jobs that we have all done in the past. And that's really the direction I'm kind of hoping the world is going into. And it seems as if that's the direction we will be going to based on my studies from the Mayan calendar. The next thing, consumer confidence, 26 was the number this month. Last month was 25.3. So we had a very small increase from 25.3 to 26. 25.3 was their all-time lows. Between 1967 and 2007, that number ranged from 43 to 144. So not much confidence at all as far as consumers are and everything. And the key word is consumers. That's something that the governments and the corporations put on us in like the 1900s at some point. It wasn't as if Christopher Columbus came on here and said, oh man, this is going to be a great land to have our consumers live on. No, we're not people or humans, we're consumers. That means we are here to just buy things. And obviously this is the type of thing that I think is totally changing in this world. There's a lot of evidence that this is all going to change. Next up is the G20 summit meetings. They are going on in England today. I will give you more information later on. Of course, you can always check the information. It's going to be available on what is going on. And they're talking about this new currency. A lot of places are supporting this currency, big time in Russia and China. And China, and they've all been lending money to the United States, and they, I think, are starting to realize that they're not going to get that money unless, of course, they print it, and they realize, well, what good is that? It's just going to inflate the dollar. I mean, it's got to happen. It's got to move to this type of change. A one world currency, to me, is something that would be a step towards that barter system. I don't know what's exactly going to happen, but expect a lot more people to be researching truth on the monetary system as the message of how money is created is getting out. But so many leaders in England, London, I think, are getting together for this meeting, and the United States dollar is going to be going through a massive, massive change. And now I'm going to finish this off with the stock market, and the stock market gained over 10% for the month of March on the S&P and the NASDAQ. The Dow only about 7%, but I think it's like GE, GM, companies like that. That's the reason why that it is basically G and GM, why it's down so low, because of companies like that. Citigroup also. I have been mentioning before how a lot of these big financial institutions have a lot of long-term investments, and these are the type of things that have got a very big chance of destroying them, if you will. Let's go through some other things. A lot of people now are trying to say that this is the time to buy stocks, that there is a bottom in stocks. Yes, we've had a 10% up month. We haven't had that since the fall of 2002. So it's been about 6.5 years since we've had a 10% up month. 2002 was a bear market. In fact, there was like 10% months during the 1930s alone. So it's not uncommon for us to be able to have these. And in fact, do you think the first 10% month is going to be the bottom? We're going to have at least 2 or 3% 10% months before the bottom. And that's exactly what happened in the 30s. The first bottom they had in 1932, there was like 3 or 4 10% months before they finally had their bottom. And what they did is they had like 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 months that had 10% in each one of their months. So that's pretty much how that came into play. The stock market does have a declining 50-day, a declining 200-day, a declining 10-year moving average, which means all of these rallies that happen are very guilty until they are proven innocent. We see yesterday the stock market lose quite a bit, and today they've gotten a lot of their losses back already today as of a little after 2 p.m. Eastern time, and it most likely has a good chance of, like I say, failing. But nonetheless, I have been talking about a short-term rally as far as a few months that may happen. I still think that the fall is where the next collapse is going to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen around that time. It's just possible to happen around that time. We'll see how things are going, but I'm going to end the video at that because we're on the 10-minute mark. And thank you everyone for watching. Peace and light and understanding. Have yourself a magnificent day, everyone. Bye-bye.